our nation and its private data and your and my personal identifying information and confidential information, private information about our medical affairs, about our financial affairs, about our social security information are all being put at risk by DOGE. Don't be fooled by the fact that Elon Musk is going back to his day job and is not working full time. The DOGE digital services is violating basic tenets of cybersecurity protection, and that has our adversaries like China salivating. Don't be fooled by China striking some sort of deal which will be to its advantage with the United States on tariffs. Behind the scenes, they're upping their hacking activities. And what DOGE wants to do, get this, is violate the basic precepts of cybersecurity, which are separation and segregation. Have separate silos of information. So even if the hacker gets into one silo in one database, he doesn't have access to the rest of the databases. No, DOGE wants to put it all together in big information, put all American data, get this, all American data into one giant, vast data pool. What does that mean? That means the bad guys, Russia, North Korea, China, and sometimes even our frenemy allies, don't have to go hunting for eggs because we have them all in one basket. They can just steal the basket. And that's what a lot of cybersecurity experts are saying. They've watched DOGE give access to your and my most personal financial, medical, and other information is being held by 5 DOGE employees with a laptop that doesn't have proper cybersecurity protection around it. They're not even using a virtual private network, a VPN, which you and I use on our phones to protect critical data. And they have shown a complete lack of understanding of the aging systems that they're working on. They want the FBI, the Department of Justice, to put all of its data together. Right? Which is music to the ears of our adversaries and hackers. We only have to go and break one database without them recognizing on the DOGE side how antiquated the FBI and the Department of Justice servers actually are. I'm Michael Popok. I don't want people to lose sight of this revelation in this story, that in the hunt for efficiency, Donald Trump has made you and me less secure, our national security undermined, and I'm going to cover it right here on the MeidasTouch network. If you're a consumer-facing business, this is why the U.S. is not a business. It's not, despite Musk trying to get the copyright on it, it's not the United States of America Incorporated. Because despite the benefits a company may have to dump all their data into one giant, beautiful database, it doesn't work when you're the government of the United States. Segregation and separation is the watchword. You put things into silos in purpose. You don't look at siloed information, compartmentalized information as a bad thing. You see it as a tenet of cybersecurity health. Your local IT person is going to tell you, don't put all of your data in one place. It could be lost. The hard drive or the cloud could be compromised and you will be lost. But to Donald Trump and in DOGE, they're just getting all excited, all hopped up on combining databases. Well, I mean, there's already reporting they were giving themselves high fives when they got into a database and they were able to dump it into this big database of their dreams, regardless of what it means for our cybersecurity. So here's how it works. China, which has upped its hacking activity, doesn't now have to search for how do I get into Social Security? How do I get into the Nuclear Regulatory Commission? How do I get into the FBI or the Department of Justice? How do I get into the CIA? Oh, there's no firewall? Oh, there's no virtual privacy network? Really? I have more security than DOGE is leaving us with, the way they're doing their combinations. And it is important to our national security. We've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Donald Trump is leaving this United States worse off, not better off, because of his actions and his activities. His economic policies undermine our national security. His domestic policies undermine our national security. The people that he's put in charge of the various departments that are dedicated to our national security make us unsafe. Tulsi Gabbard, as the head of 14 different intelligence agencies, makes us unsafe because she's unqualified for the job. Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense, the head of the Pentagon, he's so unqualified that they put him effectively in a rubber room so he doesn't hurt himself. They've taken away all the support team that he hired himself, including his brother and his lawyer, and they're not letting him pick his own chief of staff. And that guy is responsible for working with Elon Musk to determine how to secure our database of Department of Defense and the Pentagon. You combine that, and of course Elon Musk, wholly unqualified, could never get a top secret clearance to touch any of the things that he's doing unless Donald Trump, who has the power to do it, gave him that top secret clearance. There is no way he would ever get confirmed by the Senate in any of his dealings, and yet he was wielding at one point some of the most powerful set of tools that Donald Trump turned over to him. He just had a tool bag filled with sledgehammers. That's all that was in there. And this is the guy who's Mr. Tesla, who's going to be responsible for your and my national security. I mean, the White House, in response to a report by the Washington Post, said, we have some of the best and brightest minds in all of cybersecurity. I'm sure they'll be able to figure this out. That's Donald Trump's excuse every time he's challenged when something goes awry, like Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, using an unprotected, open, effectively, communications platform to talk about war plans. Where is he today? He failed up. He's now, you're in my UN ambassador. But he was the national security advisor till about 3 weeks ago. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of MeidasTouch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way. J.D. Vance, he's running around on some sort of whistle-stop tour in Europe. Everywhere he goes is death and destruction. Goes to India, war. Meets the Pope, dead. Yeah? Goes to Greenland, rebellion. I mean, again, these are the factors that go into undermining our national security. But this database, the big data thing, is important for us to get our hands on and understand. And there's going to be lawsuits that are going to be filed with federal courts about it. We had already 2 to 3 dozen lawsuits that have been filed against the Trump administration with injunctions in which people have argued that there's going to be an imminent data breach that this administration is going to be responsible for. You think your credit card information getting breached at Walmart or Target was bad? Wait till your driver's license, social security number, other key identifying personal information, your medical health, your medical records, your social security records, your benefits are all out there, right, to be purloined by our adversaries and used against us. Because you know who wants this database for their own database to undermine our national security? China, Russia, North Korea. And now with this reporting, they of course know that all of the barriers, right, have been removed. The drawbridge is down. The moat has been emptied of its water. And the kingdom is going to be under attack. We have enemies not at the gate. The enemies are inside the gate, being helped by Donald Trump. If I was Russia or China or North Korea, I would be putting all of my additional money into cybersecurity attacks on the United States and just aim for this giant database. With these tech bros running around under Elon Musk's supervision with insecure laptops, right? That's the Achilles heel. That's the weak link that they're going to aim for in the cyber attack. So you combine that with the lack of segregation and separation in data, and what do you have? Disaster. Disaster. Again, use this information to have that dialogue that you need, talking truth to each other first as we go into the streets for resistance. The 5501 movement, the movement in support of the rule of law, the veterans taking to the streets, others for reproductive rights and immigration rights taking to the streets, people getting arrested because they are defending our rule of law, including the mayor of Newark. These are the things, these are our profiles in courage, which help lead us. We're here together on the MeidasTouch network, not just to talk to each other, to educate each other, to arm each other for the resistance in terms of knowledge. I just met a lovely group of people over the weekend in Miami who were doing voter registration for the Democrats. I mean, it's nonpartisan, but it was the Democrats. And we talked about the need for voter registration and the arcane rules and the barriers to entry to suppress your vote that states are using. This is the time, well before the midterms, to go sort out your voter registration. And don't just believe I must have registered to vote. Just don't believe I must have handled mail-in voting properly. Your states, I assure you, your state, especially if you're in a red state, your state's voting rules have changed since you last registered. And you're now going to have to show a new piece of paper, a new ID, a new birth certificate, bring your grandmother, whatever it's going to be to register, whatever it is in your state. And I can't guide you on it, but there are organizations in your state, in your county, associated maybe with your party that can guide you. And double check the database, speaking of databases, to make sure you're registered to vote. Because we need that 7 million people or so that sat out the last election, who sat out and sat on the sidelines of our democracy and let Trump go back into power. We got to get them back. We've got to get them back. And we've got to have them show up at the midterms and vote D right down the line to run the bastards out on a rail. We got to make Donald Trump the lamest of lame duck presidents. And we can do it at the midterms. Can you just imagine, envision the day? We're in an apocalyptic vision now. But imagine the day, not so far away, when the House and the Senate are returned to the Democrats. The power of impeachment is restored. The checks and balances are restored. The separation of powers are restored. The federal judges are invigorated. The lawyers are invigorated to do their zealous advocacy as part of that criminal justice process. That I'm not overselling this. That is the result of the midterms. We'll get there together on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. Come on over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button there. And then we will continue to grow that pro-democracy channel in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network. Got a new Substack, Legal AF, the Substack, where you're going to get all this great information, including legal filings and a morning update by me, Michael Popok, only on Legal AF Substack. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.